The angles are all adding up. And they're putting a box around Janel Boer and her claim that her husband Greg shot her before turning the gun on himself. Crime Lab Sergeant Jim Dunlop believes Janel, a U.S. mail clerk, went postal on her husband.
She shot him.
Right.
Dunlop says the laser beams showing the trajectories of the bullets prove that Janel shot and killed Greg while he was asleep, and then she began the big cover-up.
After she had shot Greg, she then began doing things to stage the crime scene in order to sell it as this murder-suicide attempt.
Doing things like actually shooting herself in the arm to make it look like she was the intended target.
So she basically had to shoot up the room to make it look like there was like a shootout between a husband and a wife on Valentine's Day.
Correct. Unfortunately for us, she had no idea on how we investigate shooting scenes or our ability to figure out who is standing in which position and able to really backtrack the flight path of these bullets. I'm not surprised anymore. I've been doing this for 24 years, and it would certainly be harder if they did their homework and knew what it was that we were going to be looking for.
As Detective Warren Meisner investigates further, he tracks down Janel's ex-husband, who he says makes a stunning revelation.
He told me how he was arrested for domestic. She had claimed that he told the police, the responding officers, that he had assaulted her. And he said, no, that was never the case. He said that she had hit herself so hard in the face that she had done some type of facial damage to an eye orbital. Anyone willing to go to that measure certainly is capable of shooting themselves in the arm.
And Meisner says investigators found no evidence supporting Janel's claims that Greg had ever abused her or their young son, Jason.
I was certainly very confident as far as the amount of evidence that we had to clearly demonstrate her guilt.
When it's time to confront Janel, deputies bring her into the station for questioning.
How's your arm?
And once the interrogation gets underway, Janel drops a bombshell.
I've been instructed by my attorney not to say anything without him present.
I thought your attorney was a girl.
That was my divorce attorney, and she referred me to another attorney.
And who is that? What's his name?
Randall Levine.
Oh, so you actually retained Randy? I'm not asking questions, so just tell you a few things. I'll tell you that I think it's highly suspicious to me that you would contact a criminal attorney when your husband tried to kill you and killed himself.
Is that what he is?
Yes, he is. Randy Levine is a prominent criminal defense attorney in Kalamazoo.
What did you go to Randy for?
He just asked me what happened.
I read most of Detective Meiser's interview with you, okay? And then I've also reviewed the forensic evidence. And I can tell you that it is not lining up. Okay? I'm going to consider you a suspect at this point in this. Okay?
Despite her attorney not being present, Janel continues talking.
I'd like to talk with you, just don't feel good enough to talk right now. I feel like I'm ready to pass out.
And then acts like she's the walking dead.
So I feel like it's almost like I'm not here. It's almost like, am I really dead? You know, did he kill me? Am I dead? That's what I feel like.
Janel then bizarrely announces her dinner plans.
We're ordering pizza tonight.
The only pepperoni Janel will be scarfing down will be behind bars. She's arrested and charged with murder and felony firearm use, a possible life sentence if she's convicted.
You understand that's the charge and the possible penalty is a second count?
I do understand.
Prosecutors believe the motive was Janel's unwillingness to share custody of their then 4-year-old child, Jason. At Janel's arraignment, attorney Randy Levine tries to get her released without posting a bail bond.
She hasn't fled, nor does she intend to flee. So I think flight is not a factor that would require there be no bond.
She's a fine woman and a good employee of the post office. She's looking forward to the evidence that will be presented in the courtroom.
But that court date will never happen. In a shocking development, Janel cuts a deal, pleading guilty to second-degree murder.
When we found out that the other side might be amenable to a plea to second-degree murder, we went to the victim's family and talked about that and ultimately decided that that was the best way to resolve the case for everyone.
Janel's case now goes straight to the sentencing phase, and fireworks are about to explode in the courtroom.
You had no right to kill my son.
Janel, in an orange jumpsuit and shackles, listens as Greg's parents give their victim's impact statement.
He was too kind to be safe from a monster like you.
He was a good soul with many friends. He succeeded time and time again to meet the challenges of life. Fatherhood, a family man.
Janel negotiated her sentence in the plea bargain, 17 to 19 years in state prison.
What was the most important thing you needed to say to her?
That I thought she was a monster, and I also wanted the public to understand there are still people who believe her that my son was abusive, and he was not in any way abusive, ever.
I have a hard time referring to that person as a human being.
This is a family torn apart forever when rage killed romance on Valentine's Day.
I don't understand how you can do that, especially to someone that has not done you any wrong. You can't cope with that, so you cope with it by killing him, killing my brother.
Little Jason now faces growing up without his parents, his killer mom in prison, his beloved father dead and buried. And as for Greg's older daughter, Lily, she will forever cherish her final conversation with her dad.
When was the last time you saw him?
The night before.
What was your exchange like?
He told me he loved me and good night because he was headed off to work.
You feel the hole is bigger when you're with your family and he's not there?
Yes, there's such a big part of us missing now. Just another good person that's not in this world anymore.
One final note on this story, Janel and Greg's young son, who's now 5 years old, has since been adopted by Greg's brother Chad and his wife.
Does he understand that his mother killed his father?
Yes.
He does?
He does now. It was recently explained to him by his therapist, his counselor, and we did not tell him anything about it until his counselor said it was time. As adults, this has been extremely hard for us to process. I can only imagine what it might be like for a 5-year-old.
Janel is set to get out of prison when that son is 22 years old. I'm Chris Hansen. If you like this story, make sure you tune in every day to Crime Watch Daily. You can find where the show airs in your city at crimewatchdaily.com. Watch it live or record it on your DVR and watch it at night. And to all those criminals out there, remember, we are watching.